All right. Well, great morning to each and every one of you. I want to jump right in respect of your time, your Saturday, and I want to make sure that we speak, though, directly to some of the things that you've sent in this week. So I've kind of gathered some notes based on what you've sent in this week. So I want to highlight just a few things, just in reminder as we start off this week. And the first thing that I want to say is, first, I want to congratulate you because you made it through another one of these weeks. And so I do know that there are a lot of changes and things are moving down that path. And so I want to say, as I always say, blessed are the flexible, for they shall not be broken. So during this time, I want you to think flow and flexibility, flow and flexibility. If you'll think that, you will not be so rigid, because everyone right now is in some level of pressure and some level of quote unquote panic. And so you have to respond opposite of what they are responding with. Okay. So when there's a lot of panic and pressure, you have to respond in calmness and peace and confidence. And so we do that because we are principle based in the things that we operate in. So our emotions just share and showcase our passion levels, but truly, we are principle based in the things that we do. I'll give you a perfect example. Prior to COVID, Torn, of course, y'all know, is playing high school baseball. He's in ninth grade. So he's just at the time where he's now starting to see the curveball now way more than he's ever seen it before. So in the course of seeing the curveball, he struggled at the beginning hitting the curveball because the ball has a lot of movement. Fastballs is just about timing. Curveballs is about movement. So one of the days I was dropping him off and I shared with him, I said, listen, if you're going to be successful in hitting a curveball, you have to do opposite of what the ball is doing. When the ball's moving a lot, you must be still, because you're not going to hit it if it's moving and you're moving. So you have to be still. I think the same is true right now in the situations that we're in. You must go opposite what the masses are doing. They're going under, you come out. They're going in hiding, you become visible. So with that, I say, make sure that you keep yourself visible, because your business will stay possible. All right. Oh, second thing I want to say here, and I haven't really shared this enough, and I'm going to share my screen as we get ready to jump into our presentation. But what I want to share here is, I want to tell you that if you don't need it right now, don't learn it. I'll say that again. If you don't need it right now, don't learn it. A lot of people are learning new things, which is a good thing. But at this time, you want to magnify what you do well. I don't want you focused so heavily on things that um, that you could learn, that could be nice. You know, that was one of the mistakes I made early on, is that I was going after a lot of the latest and greatest things. And if you don't need it, then right now is one of those times where I'm going to tell you, don't go and learn it. Magnify what you do well. All right. Matter of fact, before we jump into that client place, let's look at one more thing, and then we'll jump right into there. Again, I'm going to take a lot of Q&A today, but I want to bring up the planner to you. You guys know I'm going to continue to talk about the planner, and I'm talking about it because this is the basics of productivity. So when you think about it, page 8, this page here on execution, should be right next to you in a lot of your activity. If you're not measuring and monitoring right now, you're not making the right adjustments, or you're doing it off of a feeling and not off of a fact. And I want you to be moving off of facts, not just feelings. Okay. So make sure page 8 is very important. All of it is, and then this door page, I think it's page 11, maybe 12 for you. Door, deals on our radar. Filtering your interest in your buckets. Remember, we continue to tell you, you got to put your people in buckets, and you have to work down through your buckets in order to work over. Okay, so deals that you're working, they need to be listed, because you want to keep these names before you, and just jot down what's the next thing that's needed for that deal. okay, for that client, for that person. What's the next things needed? Some people it's information, some people it's a challenge, some people it's a consultation, but you need to know what's needed and then work down through your buckets, right? Appointments set, appointments shown, appointments missed, appointments sold. And then naturally we want to work into our one thing calls where we are sharing our follow-up inside of our buckets, okay? So let's make sure that you are utilizing that door sheet right now more than ever, because that's going to help you through. Okay, so let's jump in for our teaching this morning. Many of you are running a client, a call to client conversion play. And I think it's very great for you to do that. That gives you the opportunity to sample before you sell, and it makes sure that you're the right fit for that client. So I like that call for many of you, and so continue to run it. Actually, I'm running it kind of slightly right now myself. Of course, you know, I'm heavy on the webinar and adding value through my teachings and trainings. And many times that leads to my conversions, right? So that's my play. Some of you've adopted that and kind of are tweaking that. Again, you got to measure. For the most part, though, it looks like 75% of you are running this play. So let's talk about this morning. And I put down 5 steps to just helping you up your closing rate from call to client inside of your consultation. Number 1, preparation. I don't want to ever assume that we don't prepare. So I like to start right there. Preparation is not just being on time for your call, your alarms going off on your phone or on your calendars, but being prepared is doing some research, R&D, research and development. That is huge for us in so many components and so many buckets. But research the client as soon as you get that information on them, so that you can get an idea and familiarize yourself with what's important to them, what they're on. Maybe you can even see some of the holes prior to the call, because you're playing match as they're talking. You're matching what you saw and seeing if there's any gaps even in that which they tell you versus what you've been seeing. So you want to do some research to that. Number 2 is expectation. You know, I like to immediately thank the client for setting up the call and set clear guidelines for that call, because different people, you have different times. I'm not here to tell you how long you can do it. I like to do mine a little bit shorter, just because I know what happens if you stay in them too long. You can do too much, and then before you know it, it muddies the water of why we got on this call. So sometimes the shorter helps you to be clear, concise, and you're right and succinct and to the point. One of the things that I learned from Patrick Morrison is that he shared with me that if you can lower the anxiety of people, you can get to the heart of the matter a lot quicker. So the expectation is of importance. Thank them for setting up the call, clicking a link, setting up your call, jumping on the phone and actually following through. Thank them, lower the anxiety, so that now you can get into number 3, which is facilitation. Facilitation is where you stay in control, yet they drive the conversation. Now, this is an art here. It's an art here, and you have to practice this area. Facilitation is they are driving the conversation. You're staying in control with the use of your questions. So one of the questions, I'm going to give you just one today, because this is the one that if you'll just use the one, it's going to help you. What's going on in your life or business that makes this time in your life the right time to talk? Now, I can unpack that and help you, and I will in a future presentation, but I want you to get that. I'm going to say it again. I'll send it to you as well. But what's going on in your life or business that makes this time the right time to talk? You are looking for those pressures, or you're looking for that sense of looking for the pleasure that they're looking for. What's the pleasure that they want, or what's the pain that they're experiencing? You're looking for that when you have this level of conversation here. Now, facilitators are great listeners, and they are active and present inside of the listening. You cannot try to multitask. Don't turn your camera off and then try to multitask. You got to stay in the moment. You got to be right there. Hear what's being said, hear what's not being said, hear how it's said, and hear what you thought they really wanted to say. You got to hear all four factors inside of that time. Now, consideration, step 4, is where you need to assure your client that you can handle the request and you ask for the permission to partner with them. This is in the consideration phase. During I'm in this phase, and here's something I like to do is I like to restate, I like to reword, I like to clarify for clarity's sake before I then assure them that I can handle it. Now, I do this for multiple reasons, is that I want to deeply seed at this point that I heard them, I can handle it, and then naturally that I have either done it before. So when I am in this phase, I'm bringing stories back into the conversation because the stories is what's helping us during this time. Because when I hear a story, I'm relating as a person that I can feel like, ooh, they can help me in this time, which then leads us to step number 5. And step number 5 is activation. Please, 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 please hear me. Matter of fact, let me turn this off. You've seen this long enough. When we get into activation, you have to get eyeball to eyeball with your client. Now, you've at this point have added some value in their life. You've addressed the issue. You've told a story of something maybe similar that you've helped and handled. So you've done all that, which now is the time for you've asked for permission and you need to go get the business now. Now, here's where you must know your offer because you have created value. They should want it, and now you point them to it. And so here's where you have to now ask for the business, right? And we ask for the business. We ask for the business with confidence. We do not shy down. We don't change our voice. We do not move to another level. We speak with confidence right here during this time. Now, we will do these things consistently in our calls. Your conversion rates will continue to rise. And now you're going to need to watch as you walk through the call, what area do you need to work on? I know for me, I had to work on not jumping in and solving the problem without listening. That was the biggest and still the biggest for me, of wanting to just hear something and solve it immediately. I had to learn how to listen, take in, and make sure that there's nothing else underlying before we get to solving, right? It's one thing to see that there's a leak, but then to find out where it's coming from, solving that solves it all. Don't just go get the mop and just go, get the kitchen clean, because if you haven't fixed the leak, you're going to get the mop again. I had to learn that, and I'm still learning that. So I want you to hear this, because as you start to implement this right here is going to move you and move your close rate up. Remember, it's not always how many's coming to the front door. It's also what are we doing with those who are at our front door. So we want to make sure that we tighten up all areas. So today I really just wanted to pass that to you. Now let's get into some of our Q&A for the day so that I can make sure that you're ready to go out and have a terrific next week. Okay, let's jump in.